House Report. We're here live at Neil's in downtown Pullman. Thrilled to be here with Cougar legend Ryan Leaf. How's it going, sir? I bet it does. How's it been calling games on the CW, getting to come back to Pullman every so often? Sure. Mm-hmm.
Do with the collective, and everybody in my family gives back, and this university gave me everything, and sometimes I just feel a little kind of conflicted with it, like everything kind of should be like that. Sometimes when you're 20 years old going through something in comparison to when you're 50, it's just probably not the same thing coming back to your college town.
Yeah, no, totally get it. That makes sense. Is there any, you talked about Neil's, we're kind of bringing back some memories. Are there any places in Pullman that every time you come back, you're like, I gotta stop by there real quick?
I like driving by my old spots of my old house. I had a place on Michigan, just down the hill from the Coug. That's where me and like three of my teammates lived.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Sanderson, Shane Doyle, and I lived there. So I kind of like just reminiscing about that.
Yeah.
Seeing the window and the little door to my room down there in the bottom left corner of the house where I would, come and go when I was going to college there. And then, a lot of the restaurants have changed. Some has.
Yeah.
Cella's is still here.
Yep.
I was a big calzone fan of theirs when I used to go to school here. The Hampton Inn is now the Hampton Inn now. It was the Holiday Inn Express while I was here, and it was where I worked during the summers to make some extra scratch when I was going to summer school here. So that's where I stay when I come in to call games.
Oh, nice.
So it's nice. The movie theater shut down. So.
Yeah. Pullman's falling on some hard times.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if the movie theater didn't exist when I was going to college, I would have never come
here. You got to go to Moscow now to watch a movie.
I know, and that's Lewistown, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of supporting local Pullman businesses and trying to keep this place alive, we just want to give a quick shout out to Neil's Flowers. Obviously, this is a fantastic place. Find Cougar gifts, coffee, breakfast burritos, whatever you need. Make sure you stop by Neil's the next time you come to Pullman. And Darren's got our other sponsor.
Yes, our other sponsor is Williams Sauce Company. They make terrific barbecue sauce, and he's a Coug, so we're proud to partner with him and pick some up. We'll put a link for his website in the description later on.
What kind of sauce is it?
Yeah,
it's a good barbecue sauce. He has different, like has a sweet, and then he has a hot and savory one too. So it's pretty good. Yeah.
Is his name Williams?
His last name's Williams. Devin Williams is the guy. You want to check it out.
All right, Devin Williams. I need some barbecue sauce.
Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure you get some.
Yeah, if there's any perk that a former Rose Bowl quarterback from Washington State, I can get some Williams sauce out of the deal. All right, I'm pretty happy about that.
All right. Well, we're going to cover it all here tonight with Ryan Leaf. We're going to run through your glory days, obviously, talk about that legendary 97 team. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about the current Cougar football team. Get your thoughts on the 2025 squad, and then also just some of the things that have been shaken up with the athletic department, new media deal, all that stuff. We're going to get into it. But to start, we're going to take you back to your time in Great Falls, Montana. Heck of a high school career. You're getting recruited. Talk about that process. What made you choose Washington State? Did you get a chance to go on campus before you committed? Just walk us through that.
Yeah, I was getting recruited pretty much by everybody you can imagine around the country. I think it kind of ultimately came down to coaches that had ties with the state of Montana some way, shape, or form. Dennis Erickson at Miami was a visit I went on. Colorado State and Sonny Lubeck was a visit I went on, and Washington State was a visit I went on. Coach McDonnell, who was our offensive coordinator, had ties with Montana, and I also just really liked Coach Price. And so my dad and I did. This is the only trip my father came on with me. We drove over, and I remember just coming through the wheat fields and these rolling hills, and I'm just like, where the hell are we?
I think that's a question a lot of people ask.
No GPSs and stuff, so we're just looking at a map, right?
Yeah.
1994, and we're just rolling through these hills, and all of a sudden you come over one of them, and you see the sunshine beating on the brick of Pullman on top of the hill. And that was a great weekend. I got to meet a lot of the guys that would become my offensive linemen down the line. They were in their end of their freshman year or middle of their freshman years. Jason McAdoo and Ryan McShane. I met the quarterbacks, and then I met the coach, who would end up being my coach for the rest of my college career. And when we left, I felt pretty comfortable about it. My dad is very he's pretty quiet. He doesn't really say much. Just kind of takes everything in. And I remember Coach Price telling me years later that after the visit, that he thought my dad hated it because he didn't say anything during the meeting. And he's like, well, Leaf's dad hated it completely. We lost. We didn't get him. And then he called me on New Year's Day. I was watching the UCLA-Wisconsin game, and he asked what I was doing. I told him I was watching it, and he said something that any other coach could have told me. And he said, if you come here, we'll play in that game together. And I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. No research that they hadn't been there since 1931. I just believed in him. It was a leap of faith, and it was probably the best decision I ever made up to that point, for sure.
If you had known that it had been 67 years since Washington State had been, do you think you would have? Good thing he left that part out.
I would probably take a pause on it, and maybe I canceled recruiting trips to UCLA and Oregon.
Wow.
And so after that, I remember when we went and played Oregon my redshirt freshman year. The facilities in comparison to ours, I was just like, oh my God, if I went on a business trip, I would have went here. It would have done enough. That would have been so much.
Especially at that age.
Yes. And so I'm so glad I didn't go on that visit.
Yeah.
Because I would have been influenced by, stupid stuff that I didn't need to be influenced by.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Drew puts out hype videos. That's how we got connected and everything. And one of your quotes that he throws in there is, it takes a special person to go to WSU, and it just does. You can be a Trojan, you could be anybody else, but to go to WSU really means something. Can you elaborate a little bit further what you mean by that?
Well, it was a special night. It was the night we were, kind of celebrating the two teams that stuck it out, that got left behind and wanted to build something out of the ashes. And I just thought about it for, Beavs out there and Cougs out there. You have to be a special type of person. You have to have been able to overcome adversity, have been the underdog in a lot of situations, maybe kicked around a little bit, judged, and you have to have that ability to overcome and get up from anything. And listen, silver spoons are placed in the mouths of a ton of Huskies and Trojans and Ducks out there, so they have no idea what that means.
Right.
And so that's why I said it, and I think it's the truest thing I could have said. It takes a special individual to be a Cougar or a Beav, and I'm glad I can represent that aspect of things. It gives you a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Darren and I obviously didn't ever put on the pads for Washington State, but I think even the students carry that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, you should. Listen, you go to a state school in this state, there's a reason why. I think some of the best majors that are attributed to this university, in particular, physical therapy, veterinary, and mass communications, I think when you hear people who are on the broadcast side of things, most likely they're from Syracuse, Northwestern, or Washington State.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and that means something. And every vet I've ever run into, almost the ones that are great, all have gone through Washington State. And so, I mean, there's something meaningful to that in what we do.
Yeah.
So obviously you played with a ton of characters in your era. You know, when you're a freshman, you're going against the Palouse Posse. You obviously played with Leon Bender, Chris Jackson, Steve Gleason. Who is the biggest character you were ever around other than yourself? And do you have a funny story, that goes with that?
I would probably argue that none of my teammates would say I was a big character at all.
Really?
I was,
Okay, all right,
I was
all right.
incredibly intense.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a running joke that the hardest thing to do was to get me to smile or to sack me. And I was really intense in practice and games, and so the most beloved player on our football team, pretty much my entire time at Washington State, was our backup quarterback, Steve Birnbaum.
Oh, really? Okay.
Bernie was beloved by everybody because he was such a great guy. He's just such a great guy.
Right.
I mean, unbelievable person.
Right.
He was friendly. He was respected. And he was a good football player. And so, he was the guy that everybody loved. The biggest character, Leon was definitely, he was larger than life. He just was. He was a larger than life character that, he's one of those guys like me and one of those underdogs that was a Prop 48 guy.
Yep.
That got a second chance, made the most of it, and it just was a dominant force for us. But he was probably a real character. Chris Jackson was a good one. Nyan Taylor was a trip, man. That dude, I don't know if that dude ever went to class once. I don't think. Like, that dude was just all about playing football and chasing girls. That's all it was about for him. And I would have to ask him the real question if he actually got his college degree while he was here. I assume he did. But I thought he was more, most of us were kind of like that. We wanted to play football and we wanted to chase some girls and that was about it. So it was a good time to be a Coug. It was a great group of guys. I've never met a group of guys that were more motivated towards a common goal and were able to achieve it together.
Yeah. Well, that leads really nicely into a question I wanted to ask you for a really long time. My family's fourth generation Coug, so we've debated this many, many times, but everybody knows the Fab Five. Which one of those Fab Five receivers was the best? The one that if you had to throw to in a one-on-one situation, that's the guy you would call on.
There isn't one. I mean, that was what was so great about it. Like, we could put all five guys out there and they were so good that no matter what, there was going to be a mismatch. You could not roll out five defenders.
Right.
I'll find the mismatch.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you look at every game throughout the year and every single game, there was a determining factor on who I went to. Like the Arizona State game where we threw for 447 yards, Sean McWashington went off because they didn't have the guys to do it. You look at what CJ and Kevin McKenzie were able to do throughout the year. They led the team with, I think, 10 touchdowns apiece.
Yep.
And then opener against UCLA, Nyan went for 200 yards on 5 catches. So, it didn't matter. Like it mattered about what the matchup was. And you were not good enough at the collegiate level to have 5 defenders capable of covering these guys one-on-one. That's what made them fabulous. There's no, it wasn't some, catchy nickname. All 5 of them could absolutely destroy you if you decided to put, some freshmen on them and thinking you were going to do something to stop us in any way.
And they were so smart too. I think that was part of what made that offense so dangerous is that a lot of teams, their solution to those 5 receivers was to just drop everybody back in zone. And we're going to prevent the big play. We're just going to, and those receivers and you were just in sync all the time. And they were finding the spots in the open zones and sitting in them.
And when teams did that, listen, I had no problem checking it to Michael Black.
That's true.
That guy run.
Yeah.
I mean, he could absolutely destroy zones. That was such a problem. People forget, like, we averaged 550 yards of total offense a game. So but I think people assumed it would be like 400. We had 330 yards passing and 220 yards rushing a game. I mean, we absolutely destroyed you. You did not want to what we were doing. We were balanced as hell. And if you were going to play too deep, we're going to run the ball. And then you're going to bring that safety down, and then we're going to actually gut you with one of our guys. So, I mean, it was no one had an answer for it. And still to this day, I think that offense would have worked at the next level, at the NFL level, and would have just continued to disrupt that spread offense that Mike Price developed and invented.
Yeah. Well, for you, at least, we talked about the Fab Five. What about the Fat Five?
That's a great name. Right?
Yeah. Who is the best of the Fat Five? Jason McKendoo, excuse me. Ryan McShane, Rob Rainville, Corey Withrow, and Lee Harrison.
There wasn't a better. If you want to go on longevity, it's Corey Withrow. He went on to have an incredible NFL career with the Vikings and the Chargers, especially for a guy who was a walk-on, started in Spokane. He's just an amazing story. But all five of them were tremendous. I mean, Lee was a walk-on and kind of got thrust into that role that final year. I think I probably at some points during our career weighed more than Lee Harrison.
What was your weight that year?
I got up to like 255.
Oh, okay.
And even though it probably says he was like 270, I don't think he ever got over 250, to be honest with you.
Okay.
He was not a big guy, but he knew leverage. He was scrappy as hell. Yeah. Left tackle, Rob Rainville. He was the youngest, right? So he was the junior or the sophomore or whatever when everybody else on the line was a year older. So he was kind of, always was the one getting picked on a little bit. But he was my blind side, though.
Oh, yeah?
So he had the most important position out there. And he did a tremendous job with it. But him and McAdoo, I never seen two guys who had to be with each other and be so in sync, fight so much with one another. It was just two little brothers just yelling and screaming at each other all the time. And then the other side with Corey and then Chop. So Ryan McShane's nickname was Chopper. Because he would always chop block the hell out of people. He would get lazy with his technique and I'm just sick of this. He just chop people.
That's every defensive lineman's favorite, right?
Yeah. So he was hated a lot by defensive linemen, and Chop was probably the funniest of them all, or found himself to be the funniest of them all. I mean, the special thing about that team is we just. We stayed healthy. I mean, that offensive line started every single game.
Yep.
That wide receiver crew and running back, tight end started every single game. The only time we had an injury was the down Rose Bowl when we lost our running back. We lost Gilmore, our backup running back, too, in that game. I mean, we were not winning games when I had to throw it 40-plus times in a game. And in the two losses that year, I was over 40 attempts.
Right.
Those were the only two times I was over 40 attempts. The game that we played the best against Cal, I think, at homecoming, we beat 63. It was 63-7 when they pulled me, and I had only attempted 21 passes.
Wow.
We were 13-21 for 300. And who cares how many yards? 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And we just ran all over them too. So I mean, that's where we were the best, when we were not chucking it all day long, but we were balanced. We were running the football. In the 2 games we ended up losing that year. Down to the wire is when we had to throw it a lot more because we got down in that Arizona State game, and then we didn't have a running back in that Rose Bowl.
Right. Okay, so you set me up perfectly for this question, so I got to ask it. Let's just jump back in a time machine for a second. You're on the field January 1st, 1998, staring down the Michigan Wolverines. You got to drive the field. You're down 5, I believe.
Yep.
You complete the hook and lateral. Unfortunately, doesn't get out of bounds. Now, at least on TV, it says.
Why doesn't he get out of bounds?
That's
the biggest question.
That really is, isn't it?
Repeated over and over in the huddle. Get out of bounds. I don't care. I don't need 7 yards or 12 yards. I need time.
Right.
And it's just your muscle memory as a player. And Jason Clayton was the guy that got the hook. He came in with me as a freshman. Had lingered on the bench his entire career, and now he was playing in the Rose Bowl. You know? So when your muscle memory takes over, you plant your foot and you try to make something bigger. So It's not his fault. He wasn't supposed to even be in that situation.
Right.
And to make the play that he did to give us even more yards. Realistically, what's supposed to happen is that I spike it. There's still 1 second left on the clock.
Right.
We get another shot. But to take all that nonsense away and not give anybody any chance to say anything, I should have just snapped it and ran the play.
Right.
But I'm looking at the same thing. Big moment. I'm looking at the sideline. Everybody's yelling at me to spike it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not even thinking about that. Also, I would have liked empty formation. That's what I really want. I wanted to spike it, get 5 wide with all 5 guys,
Yeah.
and for us to be able to run it. Instead, I think we had 2x2.
Yeah.
And we would have had to run it differently. We would have had to run like a 60 protection and try to throw that way. But if I could get that 5th guy on the field, we could have run the play I wanted to run.
Yeah, and it didn't look like it seemed like everybody was on the same page that you were going to spike the ball. Your linemen were all just standing straight up.
No, we spiked it too, and I looked up at the clock. There's still a second on the clock at the Rose Bowl there.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it wasn't like it was some sort of controversial thing. I mean, I spiked it and I looked up and I could see up on the clock 1, and then it goes up.
Yeah.
So, and you can see it on TV, and then it just absolutely pisses me off for years and years when I see guys step up and spike it only 1 second come off the clock and the thing.
Yeah.
But they also changed. I don't know if you guys know this, but they also changed the rule after that game.
Right.
That now there has to be 3 seconds on the clock for
Right.
you to attempt to spike.
Right.
Right.
So we ended up changing a rule. Yeah, because of that controversy at the end of the game. But it also, I think, it left doubt for a lot of people. And every time Coach Price would talk about it, he would always say we didn't lose. We just ran out of time.
Right.
And there's something to that. Like, I would have just loved a shot at the end zone from what have probably been like 26-yard line, 22-yard line. I can't remember where if he would have been out of bounds or if the spike would have counted.
It was from the 25 if the spike had counted.
Yeah. And so, that would have been a heck of a fun throw for the game against our defense and I just wish I would have had the chance.
Right.
That's what sucks about it. It's like to end the game on something so arbitrary as it like if you want to end the game, just let the guy throw the ball then.
Right.
You're gonna end it on a spike to try to get the clock to stop. Just stop the clock and let the play happen. And so that was one of the biggest things for me.
Do you want to hear my theory on why outside of trying to screw us, my take is
they were hoping Tennessee was going to win that.
There's that. But my take is there was an offensive pass interference earlier in the drive that they didn't call.
Well, you don't know that. He was ripping on Nyan halfway down the field the whole time.
I agree not to call. I fully agree not to call it, but I have with all the Michigan. I just have this feeling that the referees
calls that they talk about,
and they basically had to choose: we either screw Washington State, who's going to come after us, the Pullman media, or we screw the Michigan Wolverines. Yeah. And I think that's what the referees chose, and I think that's why they were thrilled to run off the field that day. And
what's crazy about it is the TV cameras. They showed me right away, and then they went and they found Coach Price. Like they didn't fall. Like I took off for that referee. Like I went after his ass. Coach Price grabs me. He grabs me and he says, "Don't say anything. Let me handle it." Like, dude was always he was my better angel on my shoulder, no matter what.
Yeah.
Always have been. He was the greatest coach to ever get the most out of this. Kid from Montana. I mean, it's amazing. And in that biggest moment when I was seeing red and wanted to absolutely murder this official,
choke the official out.
How are you even allowed to wear those stripes when you just blatantly in front of everybody do this? So I go and go after him, and Coach Price grabs me. Gets me back to where I was. Because we all know
I never do that.
Yeah, it was nutty.
Well, here's another funny story. Drew here was only born a few months before that game. So the fact that he even knows any of this stuff is what's hilarious.
Well, he's a spook, that's why he knows.
I know. I was born and raised a UCLA fan, but was adopted into this family and have really followed and studied a lot of this stuff. I watched the game live after having gone to the Rose Parade that day. And I remember my buddy was just rooting for Michigan. I was like, I'm just watching the game and enjoying it, and it was a good game. Yeah. And at the time I didn't feel anything. Looking back and watching replays over and over,
I've never watched
what
it.
the?
You've never watched it? Unbelievable.
My dad
really?
watched it on a like an ESPN Classic thing.
Yeah.
And he called me and he told me not to watch it. He said I would be too angry. He said.
Yeah. I will say this: if it's any consolation, I know you're a competitive guy, and I am too. And when you lose,
We both are,
that's
yeah.
it, right. But my dad, who is the biggest Coug I know, he still to this day says he's never been more proud to be a Washington State Cougar than watching us take the field against Michigan that day and the way we played.
Dude, I remember walking out and two of the coaches were like standing there like they were zombies, just kind of looking. And I remember walking by him and I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? It was Larry Lewis and Mike Levinson. And I go, what are you doing? He's like, we made it, man. And I go, what do you mean we made it? He's like, we're coaching in the game with a blip. And I was just looking at him going, oh, we are so the same people. We are meant to be Cougs. So we would say something like that, like, these dipshits have never even been in a game or a practice. Damn right we haven't, and now we are. So welcome to the show.
That was Coach Price had to go touch the paint in the end zone just to make sure it really said Washington State. It wasn't.
Well, because all the things that he'd ever done for us was superimposed paintings in our locker room and stuff because it didn't exist.
Right.
No one knew what it looked like.
Yep.
And I remember that day too. We went for pictures that day, and I ran down to the end of it, and I did the same thing. I was just like, because he would take it out of the locker room every year when the goal wasn't an achievable goal anymore, and I was so pissed. I was so angry at him all the time. The year my sophomore year, I ran into his office. I told him to put it back up, and he wouldn't do it. And I just screamed at him. And I said, and he said, "It's not an achievable goal anymore." And I'm just like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And he motivated us. And when we got there and got to experience it and see it, still, I got one of the pictures, one of those panoramic pictures that hangs in my office of that Rose Bowl above it with Washington State in the end zone.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Can I say the F word on this podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I did on a previous.
Like it's got damp with it.
No. We're just trying to listen in.
All right, Bo.
Well, let's get into a little bit of the current team right now. Obviously, the 2025 Washington State Cougars under Jimmy Rogers right now. We've kind of been up and down throughout the season, 4-5. Had a couple of great games between Ole Miss and Virginia. Pretty much shot ourselves in the foot in those games, it seemed like. And moreover, for the Virginia game. Recently, Oregon State kind of go there, really can't get anything going throughout the game. What are your thoughts right now so far on this year's team and what you see for, what they've been able to do and the progress they need to continue to make?
Well, I don't like to, really look at anything until there's a finished product. I want to wait till the season was over. The way I would have measured this season as a victory, as a great season, is if they get bowl eligible.
Yeah.
That's how I would rank this year. Jimmy Rogers' first year was an absolutely completely rebooted coaching staff.
Yeah.
Football roster, everything. To get bowl eligible with 3 road trips to the East Coast, essentially, Ole Miss, Virginia, and James Madison, 2 games against Oregon State. Right there are 5 games alone that a lot of people would say if they win those ones, that would be like crazy to think that that's happening. So for them to get to 7 wins, which is a real possibility, would be a huge win for this team. Didn't know much about Jimmy Rogers. I covered him for South Dakota State when I called the national championship a few years ago. Really intense guy. I could tell he wanted to win. I've gotten the opportunity now, 3 times now, calling games of his to see it in action. I was really disappointed with our fan base after the Idaho game, how everybody just kind of all of a sudden was in the dumps all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it just, our fan base is the biggest thing. What I love about Washington State fans is how much they love being a Coug. They love it. I love it. But the biggest shortcomings that Coug alumni and fans have, I feel, is they don't put their money where their mouth is. And that is, for me, the biggest thing in all of this. There's a 225,000 alumni base out there. that if they just simply did the 1980 collective,
Yeah.
it's a Netflix account every month,
Yep.
we would have the amount of money in NIL to compete. Like compete.
Right.
And this, guess what? Teresa Gould has gone out and done an incredible thing by building this conference, because the teams in this conference are going to have a better chance to go to the college football playoff than they ever had in the old version of their conference.
Amen.
Right.
Yep.
Boise State, if they would have stayed in the Mountain West, they probably could have been that team every year.
Sure.
But Washington State and Oregon State, never. They haven't won Oregon State's never won a conference championship. Washington State hasn't won a conference championship since 2002.
Yep.
Right.
Yes,
So it's
sir.
not like
Yeah.
everybody's all up in arms about the leech years. Yeah, great leech years, but you didn't win shit.
Yeah.
All right? You had a lot of fun parties, and you had a mustache, but you didn't win anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's the thing that I want. I want to see Washington State at the national level, and this is the opportunity for it. Too many fans are just down in the doldrums going, "Oh, we're not part of the conference anymore, and it's not
Yeah.
the Power Four."
Yeah.
Listen, until they want to make that switch, whenever that's going to be, I assume one day they're going to say, "Hey, we're not going to allow any other team other than these Power Four conferences."
Right. Might even be
Ultimately,
Power
that
Two.
It's going to be a Power Two conference.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when the Pac-12 is going to look very smart, because people are going to have to start scurrying back to these conferences that stuck around, and the Pac-12 is going to be the ones that decide on who they're going to let back in.
Yep.
Are we going to be petty, or are we going to be,
No, but I have a theory that the first two that'll come back from the original conference will be Stanford and Cal. And I say that probably just more of their travel schedule. And I think
they owe so much damn money.
I know.
They can't do it until there's another realignment.
The reality.
Is that
is-
2029, 2030?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, the reality is that the realignment for the old Pac-12 teams isn't working for any of them. I think John
Except
Canzano
Oregon.
except for Oregon. I mean,
They're playing here at 6:00 though. I
Are
wonder if
they?
Minnesota's able to walk in there, and I mean they figured out ways to get that win they had at Iowa was unbelievable. Great job. I love their coach. I think
Yeah.
they do a tremendous job. I had a little duck blood in me because my little brother Brady was. a
that's
quarterback
right.
there.
Yep.
So if there's any team I inch towards, but I've been really pleased with Jimmy Rogers. I think he's really frustrated because he knows that there was a lot of wins. Those 3 games you talk about, Ole Miss, I get it. I think maybe if that game went on in perpetuity, Ole Miss would still just toy the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Just be batting you around like a cat does with a toy. Then
Right.
it goes, all right, it's over.
100%.
They're the number 4 team in the country. They're playing about as good as anybody down there in the SEC. But on any given Saturday, in this new world of NIL and portal, any team can win, flat out. And I'm going to give you a really good example of that, because we should not have went into Corvallis and got beat.
No.
It was everything that happens in the game, though, starts to stack up and gives other teams confidence. Oregon State beats them. And then the following week, you have a Sam Houston team come in who hasn't won a game.
Yeah.
And they beat him. I called it, and I sat there at the end of the game, and he asked me to give me an analyst wrap up of the game, and I was just like, I got nothing, man. Speechless. How does that happen? Now La Tech's coming in. La Tech put 55 and 645 yards on Sam Houston State,
Right.
who beat Oregon State and held us to 7 points.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, by all due respect, then, La Tech beats us by 70. Is that how that works? They better not.
Yeah. Better not is right.
So a lot of debate has kind of gone into the quarterback battle at Washington State this year. We start Jackson Potter. Zevi comes in. People are excited. What are your thoughts on Zevi's play so far this year? What would you like to see him do better in these last 3 games?
Well, you can't turn the ball over, and that
Right.
was the reason why Zevi got the nod after North Texas. Like,
Right.
it was the guys just kept turning the football over. In fact, those turnovers led to points. Like, they had 35 points off turnovers.
Right.
That game's not 59-10 or whatever it is if those turnovers don't happen in their territory and they
Right.
score points off it. That's a much different football game. And I think if they played again right now, it would be frankly a coin toss on who would win that game.
Yeah.
It just, everything was going in that direction, which meant they had to make a change and make a move. And then Zevi came in and gave him a little bit of spark in the Apple Cup, kept it close for a while. And he's got that leadership. Guys believe when he steps on the field.
Yep.
But when you have that and you start making mistakes and you start making poor decisions, because that aura of you doing a little extra, comes to pass, like, you become the problem. And over the
Right.
last few weeks, Zevi's kind of become the problem. That the
Right.
loss to Oregon State in particular, just some of the decision making he made. One was on a third down, so it was kind of like a punt. But the sack on the third down right before the missed field goal, just you're behind the line of scrimmage, just throw it out of bounds.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it brings her back to the right hash.
I was just about to say, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's just a little bit closer there. That might get in.
Yep.
So there's just little things, and I think Jimmy Rogers and the staff and the players are learning that they are the subtlest little difference. I mean, this is how far, if you can see that, people, this is how far the safety was in that Virginia game.
Yeah.
They've made some bad mistakes, and they're learning. Listen, that's what this is. But they have an opportunity to win a game against a very good La Tech team. They're good Sun Belt team, and a victory against them then would be big, taking them back to 500. And then they have a chance to go on the road again and play a top 25 team in what, there's some rumors going around game day might be there for that one. I'm going to take my son down to the game for his first Cougar game ever.
All right.
That's awesome.
It's our weekend
Let's
off,
go.
so I'm going to go do that.
That's
and I'm gonna let
amazing.
him, and I'm going to be a fan and not be in the analyst
I love
chair
it.
at all. And then come back here right after Thanksgiving
Yep.
and have a chance to either get bowl eligible or put an exclamation point on it with a 7-win season, which I think if there's anybody out there that looks around at where this place, where it was headed, what was going on, if you were not happy with a bowl eligible team this year, I don't know if anything can make you happy.
Yeah. With how close this team has been, it feels like just learning to win is what they're working on, right?
Oh, and then I can't get over how good this defense has been.
Oh my
It hasn't
gosh.
been necessarily like they run to the football better than I've seen a Washington State defense do that
Since 94.
No, I think that the Eric Coleman, my
Oh,
cousin,
yeah.
my cousin
Yeah,
Steven
yeah.
in the early aughts,
Yeah.
2000,
Yep.
2000, 2000, or 2001, 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
That defense was badass. Will Durding, Eric Coleman. You had David out of the corner. You had the Abdullah brothers. You had
Ryan Long.
Ryan Long.
Yeah, the caveman.
Yeah, those guys were good. They ran to the football. They made plays. This defense runs the football. The only difference with this defense, they for whatever reason can't create turnovers. Like one interception this year.
Yeah.
They're around the football. Like if the ball was bouncing on the ground, like they have enough guys that are around the football all the time. They would be recovering everything.
Right.
It's odd because during Grinch's era, he could get those guys to get the ball on the ground all the time.
Right.
But he didn't have all his guys running the football, so they missed half the opportunities for
Right.
fumbles because they didn't have guys around the football.
Right.
This defense has guys around the football all the time. And coaches, when we meet with them during the week, that's one of the first things they bring up. They talk
Right.
about how darn good they are at going to the football.
Yeah, absolutely. It does remind me. Everybody remembers the 97 season and going to the Rose Bowl and everything. But what people don't remember was that 96 season where it was a lot of the same. Play a really great game and you just can't find a way to
We
win.
were 5-2. Like we were ready.
Yeah.
We were about to just become bowl eligible with 4 weeks to go in the season. And then we went on a 4-game losing streak at the end of the year. And overtime, first time overtime was allowed in college football.
Yep.
An overtime loss in the Apple Cup at home.
Yep.
Where I may have played the worst 3 quarters of my life to start that game, and we did not get bowl eligible. We went 5-6. We missed out on a bowl, and it was probably ended up being the best thing that ever happened to us, to be honest with you, because there was a chip on our shoulder. We were figuring out how to win close games,
Yeah.
and sure enough, next year we had a bunch of close games that we found ways to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the new media deal has been finalized. We don't have numbers yet. People are speculating, but it's going to be CBS, it's going to be the CW, and it's going to be USA. Now that means 100% of Washington State games will be on linear TV. We're going to know all the kickoffs before the season starts.
That's huge, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, for
It's monumental
Yeah.
because there's not many teams. If you're on ESPN or Fox, you're going to have trouble knowing.
You're going to know the road games too, especially in conference.
Exactly.
You're going to know exactly what time the game is. So when you're traveling, let's say you go to a new place like Texas State and San Marcos,
Right.
you're going to know when that game is, how to travel for it. No, that's a huge thing, yeah.
Where, based on this TV deal, what do you feel like it says about the new conference and where we sit in college football?
I think Teresa Gould has done an incredible job. Listen, if anybody believes that during that hiatus of trying to figure out what was going to happen, that if the ACC or somebody else would have tried to come in and pluck one of the two teams, Oregon State or Washington State out, that one of them would have went, is an absolute lie. If anybody tells you that story, they would have never left. She promised them what they were going to get. They were going to get a conference that made them powerful in this country, a competitive one that would give them a shot at the college football playoff every single year, and a TV media rights deal that was going to be comparable. And it is. I can't tell you what the numbers are, but I know what they are, and they're going to surprise a lot of people in a positive way. The reason why I can't talk about it right now, you have CBS negotiating with the Mountain West Conference right now, and there's no way we would do that to not allow them to continue to have leverage over what their negotiating patches are. When that comes out, you're going to find out. And the linear aspect of things is huge. I mean, we witnessed it with the carriage issues with YouTube and everything like that. You may not know where you're going to get. That was the biggest problem with the Pac-12. The Pac-12 network had the Pac-12 app. That was the Pac-12. You couldn't watch it. People couldn't figure out how to watch it.
Right.
And all people wanted to do was watch Pac-12 After Dark, and they couldn't.
Right.
And so now they can. They can watch it whenever, wherever. And it's the reason why I took the job at the CW 2 years ago. I didn't want to take it because we had moved to Connecticut, and I didn't want to travel all the way across the country every weekend. I had a new baby. I had a young son who was going to start playing sports, and I didn't want to be gone so much. And my wife, who works in the entertainment industry and she understands these things, sat me down and simply said, this is going to be on a national platform. You're going to have more people watch your games than you've ever had watch your games when you were calling games at ESPN and Fox. And she was right. Last year, the Oregon State, Washington State game at one point peaked at like 1.2 million viewers.
Yep.
And it's been that same way this year. It's going to be on national TV. You're going to be able to watch no matter where you are. You're not going to have some streaming service. You can pull damn rabbit ears up and put it on and watch.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And so that's meaningful. And if you're not going to have the same type of money that they got to leave to go to the Big Ten, which you're not, no one's going to, if you did, you would have went, and that's what you would have got. If you're not going to have that, you better have exposure. And so this TV media rights deal is going to give the entirety of the Pac-12 exposure. And I can't even speak to how good it is for the men's and women's basketball too. The USA deal, 22 football games. So you're not going to only have 22 football games in the Pac-12. You're going to have 50 basketball games on that side of things. And so I'm excited for that. So I think it's an absolute knock it out of the park. 2 years of what Teresa Gould has done. I only expect it to get better for her, especially when this new season starts next year. I'm excited. To be in new places like San Marcos, San Diego, Fort Collins. Going to call games there. That's going to be a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Washington State has had a lot of turnover recently. More particularly, most recently, we just let go of our AD, Ann McCoy.
Wow, her ears were burning.
Her ears were burning. Okay. What are your thoughts on, what WSU should be looking for in their next AD? And what about President Cantwell? What are your thoughts on her?
I think she wants to do what's best for the university. You don't make a decision like this, a hard decision like this, unless you think you drastically need to overreact to make a change. Like this is a banana in the tailpipe, situation. They're going to blow some things up. And it's been proven the way our NIL has gone this year is not going to cut it. It's not going to get it done. So we truly need, in the position of athletic director, though Ann did a tremendous job in two of the hires. I think she did. I think Coach Riley on the basketball side of things has been a really, really good hire. And I think Jimmy Rogers is going to be one of the most sound coaching decisions that have been made at this university. And so in doing that, she set this school up for success down the road. But what the athletic director has to be in this day and age, and it's got to be at the first and foremost of anything, is a fundraiser.
Yep.
Plain and simple. You have to be able to raise money. And so that's what I expect whatever headhunting for an athletic director next is going to be. It's going to be around an individual who has a huge fundraising background, who can get money and get blood out of a stone is the best way to put it. And that's how you're going to get this job. If you can be a fundraiser, know going into it, it's going to be one of the most difficult fundraising situations there is, because listen, this could be a more obvious opportunity for our fan bases to step up and make a change over the last 2 years, and they haven't done it.
Right.
So if they haven't done it, either they've been sulking so bad because everybody left them behind, and
Yeah.
they feel that step up, be a Coug, do what you're supposed to do, and fight. You know, you're the sword in the darkness right now. All right, to pull a Game of Thrones reference. I'm rewatching that because I travel on the road all the time. All right, you know, you're the watcher on the wall. Get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys disagree. There's like this guy go.
No, you got us fired up
I
because
know,
we've been
I-
preaching about it just in the recent weeks right now.
In trouble, man.
So $1.5 million has been raised. That's it. We were supposed to be at $5 million, and next year it has to be at 10. So
Wow.
we are at 1.5 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that has we are dire. So when you hear this happening, it seems like it comes out of nowhere in left field. No, like there is a method to her madness on what she needs to accomplish and understand because we have about a month and a half of this season left.
Yeah.
Of very important opportunities to raise money, and it has to get done.
Absolutely. We got to keep the momentum going. I know that the Cougar Collective has had a little bit of a surge over the last few weeks with some different media members trying to encourage people to get this job done. Want to bring it back before we wrap up just to tomorrow night's game. What does Washington State need to do to beat Louisiana Tech in Martin Stadium tomorrow night?
Well, Zebby's got to be good, Zebby. All right,
Good
so-
Zebby. That's Nigel's term.
There's
Good and bad Zebby.
There's a good and bad Zebby, and so the good Zebby's got to show up
Yeah.
for 4 quarters tomorrow. And listen, they got to run the football because where Zebby's really good is play action.
Yep.
And when you're running the ball well, he's able to do that and get some of the really good receivers down the field, Freeman
Right.
and Meredith, to make plays. And that's what needs to happen. So they have to pound the rock. They can't turn it over. This defense for La Tech gets turnovers, and not only do they get turnovers, they turn them into touchdowns. They touchdown.
Yeah.
They do it themselves on defense. If not, they put the offense in a really, really good position to score. So this team could hang a bunch of points on you. Like, this is the type of game that I think they probably have the same type of talent and are equal to North Texas.
Sure.
And so if you put them in a positive situation with 5 turnovers in your own territory in the first half, you're going to get blown off. You're going to get the barn doors blown off, and then you're going to be in such a precarious position having to go win 2 games in the last 2 games of the season to get bowl eligible.
Yeah.
James Madison is a monster.
They
Yeah.
are really good.
They are
Yeah.
a monster. They are good. So that's what they got to do on offense. And on defense, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. They got to find a way to get turnovers, right?
Right.
They're around the ball. They're making great tackles. They don't put themselves in a lot of bad situations when they're out there playing. I thought they played incredibly well against Oregon State. I mean, they held them to 60 yards passing, and they lost.
Yeah.
Showcase that where that happens. It just
Yeah.
doesn't, all right? Offense has got to score some points. And, Danny, our offensive coordinator, he's just got to pull the stop tapping the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just put your foot on the gas, head down the hill towards Main Street here and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for too.
Honestly, at this point, what do we have to lose, right? I mean, it's not like we're playing for any. We're trying to get to a bowl game, and we want to
We're
win
playing
this
for a
game.
lot. We're playing for a lot. A bowl game. You know what's so big about a bowl game?
Yeah.
Is the extra practices.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a huge
Yeah.
part of all this, and to showcase what they're still capable of doing. And Jimmy understands that if we could get that many more practices in, guys can get it better. And like, they need turns. This football team needs turns in what they're doing
Yeah.
offensively. Because I do think that this offense and what they want to try to accomplish is a big part of it. I do believe that ultimately, if you can't run the football, you need a dual threat at quarterback. Otherwise,
Right.
Jackson Potter's your guy.
Right.
Like,
Right.
guys,
Exactly.
incredibly accurate, doesn't take sacks, takes care of the football. I really do think that North Texas game was a big anomaly.
Yeah.
But when you can't run the ball, and that's why you couldn't, you
Right.
have to play somebody who has a dual threat to be able to throw
Right.
and run, and that's why Zebby's been named the starter and has been the starter the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for Washington State, honestly, when I think about tomorrow, especially offensively, it feels like in order to flush that Oregon State performance, I'd love to see us drive down the field on one of the first couple drives and score.
Yeah. They
Just
need to exercise any of that type of stuff. And I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but doesn't it suck Oregon State gets buys before our games both times this year?
both times. And it's not just them, but Ole Miss had a bye before us. I believe Virginia
Yeah.
also had a bye before us. So
We had a bye going into Ole Miss, didn't we?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the one game we both had byes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just been
And that's why I think
Did you
Jimmy.
guys see the trophy that Lane made this year? for that game? The cross-country trophy?
No.
I didn't see
What
that
it-
one.
Me. It was the Ryan Leaf trophy.
No way.
Oh, I think I read this, but I didn't see this. No.
Yeah, that was
No.
pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
No, that guy is hilarious. He always does something fun.
Lane's had me come speak to his teams 4 times.
Yeah.
Yep, and he's a pretty exceptional person, and him and I have a lot in common, and we've worked together a lot over the last 8 years. And I was there this year speaking to the team before the season started, and we were talking about this game, and he said he was going to come up with something special. Sure enough, the week of, he came up with this trophy as a picture of me. And it has a 16 underneath.
That's amazing.
Somebody was bitching about it. Well, why is it called the Eli Manning trophy or something like that? Because Eli sucks, people. Ryan's the trophy here. He's got Chad Powers or whatever.
Chad Powers.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to touch on it, but I want to real quick before we wrap up. Is just what you're doing now, going to speak. Can you talk a little bit about that work and what it means to you?
Well, everything. It means everything.
Yeah.
Because it's the foundation of everything I get to do. Like the football, I don't think football would be enjoyable for me unless I had this foundation of peace.
Yeah.
Because football was never the problem. I was always the problem. And until I fixed me, then I wasn't going to be able to enjoy it. And I really enjoy getting to call games. It's something that I've really come to like. I love the preparation of it.
Yep.
And it turns out I'm really good at it. I didn't, it's a hard
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a hard thing to do in a 20-second clip to explain what went down in layman's terms to people, to your grandma who doesn't know football, maybe.
Right.
That's hard.
Right.
That's really hard to do. And maybe it's because maybe I'm not as smart, I guess. It's easy for me to say it in more of a layman's terms and not so much football speak. But it turns out I'm really good at it, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the Pac-12 conference for the next 5 years in this deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap it at that. Again, we just want to thank you so much for taking the time to, you could be doing anything else on your Friday night in Pullman, and you came and chatted with us. So we really appreciate it. We love hearing you on the CW. You're a great representative of Washington State University, and we're honored to have you as one of ours. So
thank you. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate the opportunity, and like I told you, man, Cougars gave me everything. So. And it's awesome that back in that day when you turned 18, you made a decision on who you were going to be the rest of your life. And now that's different. Not for the student body, but for athletes. They could be 5 different things throughout their time. Where I made that decision, I knew who I was going to be the rest of my life. I was going to be a Cougar the rest of my life. And so it was the best decision I ever made. The people have been amazing to me. And I want only the best. And I get that you can complain about stuff because you can. And I've been somebody who's complained about things in their life. But there's something that I don't think you should ever be able to complain about. And that's having a Washington State Cougar football program. I don't care where they play, when they play, who they play, with what conference they play. I'm going to watch and I'm going to root them on. Like, no matter what it was, I record Washington State football games.
Yeah.
Like, it's recorded on my DVR.
Yep.
And so when I'm at home and I'm sitting, I'm watching them. Like, they could be, they could be 1-11. I don't care. I'm watching the game.
Right.
Rooting them on. I'm going to be disappointed if they don't play well, but I'm also not going to be like, fire that guy.
Right.
The unrealistic reactions are the things that I think I don't. And maybe that's because I've never truly been like a fan, like the fanatic of it all.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm a Steelers fan. So I get that sometimes.
Yeah.
But also all I know is winning because I was a Steelers fan my whole life.
Right.
And the only time that I've ever been a Cougar was when we were beating SCs and Oregons every week. That's what I come to become accustomed to. And so when it doesn't happen, I'm not like, you suck. I'm like, all right, we'll get them next time.
100%. And that's the thing that drew me into being a Washington State fan is, you get kicked in the crotch every so often. Like last week you did against Oregon State. But I'm just as optimistic about this week that we're going to come out and play better. And there's none of me that's saying, well, I'm not going to watch that team because blah, blah, blah. Well, I've given up.
I think this coaching staff, is the one that really should, that I think surprised a lot of people with some of those types of games happens.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Their schemes that they're able to put into place the week after, like their response to Colorado State,
yes,
boom, their response to Toledo just dominated Toledo.
Yep.
And I do think their response to Oregon State You just wish they didn't have to respond to those types of.
Yeah.
It's got to be
It
weird
seems
for
like
Jimmy.
that's what being a Coug is. So you gotta fight back from adversity some way, shape, or somehow.
Yeah, I have to agree because when I watched the way in which that game unfolded at Ole Miss, and obviously the defense and the pressure that they were able to apply against QB, everything, that type of game stood out to me, and that was a deciding factor. I said, this is our guy. We need to go full force with Jimmy Rodgers at the helm and really give him the support that he needs. And we can't be waiting anymore, folks.
Do you think you guys are gonna get him to smile at some point?
No, I mean, unless we fart in front of him or something, I don't know. Like what? Like
Not
what?
really any of us.
I don't think if you farted in front of him, I don't think he'd be smile at that. I think he'd be pissed about that.
Is that? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll try anything.
Hey, listen, I've got him to smile a few times.
Hey, there we go.
Now, how does that smile, show itself? Is it more like
Does it look like he's hurting?
how is
He
it?
gets my humor. Not many people get my like. So, he gets it. So
Okay.
Awesome.
I like the guy.
Yeah. Well, we do too, and we're excited to have him as our coach, and excited for this game tomorrow and the rest of the season. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening to this special live edition of the Fieldhouse Report. And as always, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.